All right, so we just got finished installing the sliding door on the transit van, and now we are going to go over the rear door on the transit van. The rear door on the transit van is basically the exact same as the Sprinter van, so if you watch that video, you're not going to have any issues, but because we have a transit van here, I've got the transit van screen here, we're going to do the install. If I'm doing the install, I might as well film it. So it's all the same tools. It's got a bit of a mess here because I just finished the sliding door, but when you open it up, you're going to have your bag of hardware. I've already opened it, but you'll have your bag of hardware, which will have your little screws, your small metal clips, and your large metal clips. I have some leftovers from the sliding door install that I'm going to use up here. Looks like I used most of the large, but I've got some small ones left. So I'm not going to go over all of the tools in detail that we use for the install, but I'm just going to kind of go over the nuanced things that make this a little bit different than the Sprinter vans. So I've got some basic tools here. I've got some clamps, I've got a hammer, I've got a knife, and I've got some cleaner. You're probably going to want like some paper towel. Got that over here. And this should be everything we need to get the install started. So, got your foam tube. And again, same thing. We're going to start by taking the screen and we're going to unzip the perimeter from the rest of the screen. The main difference with the rear versus the sliding door install is that instead of starting at the one corner and working your way all the way around, is we start in the middle at the top and work our way across and down each side. I find it to be a much easier install, and like I said, if you got through the sliding door one with no problems, you're going to find this one a breeze. So let's get the perimeter taken out and let's get this screen installed for this customer. She was nice enough to come back from a camping trip to get these screens installed so we could borrow her van for these install videos. And she thought we were actually doing the install tomorrow. So if I can get this installed and finished tonight, she'll be able to pick the van up first thing in the morning and get back on her camping trip. So we really appreciate, I think her name is Kat, for doing that for us. So we're going to unzip the perimeter here. Get the perimeter out. Okay, so we're going to move to the rear of the van and we're going to go over getting this one installed. All right, I think we got everything now to get started. We've got our clips, our screws, our clamps, and our perimeter. So again, the first thing that we're going to do, as I'll just show you, is you'll see on this piece is instead of having the alignment guides down the sides, we've got a center alignment aid that goes in the top middle. So you're not lining it up with the middle of these hooks, you're lining it up with the center, which the backup camera is a good one to use. So first things first is I like to clamp the sides. So then I can pull off the weather stripping across the top. Just like so. And we find the midline of our perimeter. And it looks like that's going to be a small, so I'm just going to grab a few clips here. You're going to want to get this kind of, when it comes to depth, you're going to be very close to the top of the door catches. Alright, so we got that one, so that's in line with the camera. I wonder if they have a taller, oh, there's a stepladder right there. I'm just a little too short for that. There's a stepladder right here though. This is the world's heaviest stepladder. Okay, so now that we've got the center tacked, oh, much easier kind of being at the right height here. Just gonna work our way across. I'm able to use mainly small ones at the top here. Like I said, whenever I can, I like to use small ones. Make sure I'm still nice and aligned. Again, there's no alignment aid on the rear, so you're just trying to keep it nice and level across the top and getting it so it's just, you know, kind of halfway between the pinch seam and the door catches. So now that I've got that done, one thing I should have done, which I forgot to do that I like to tell people, is before you take the weather stripping off on the rear, it's a good idea to mark what center is so you know when you're putting it back up exactly where the center is. So I'm probably gonna have a little bit of trouble finding perfect center. But if you just take like a piece of tape and then put a marker, like a Sharpie on it, then you'll know exactly where the center is on this weather stripping, and it makes it a lot easier. But it's kind of too late now, so I'll deal with that once I get there. But I just want another clamp, so we're gonna get another clamp to clamp the middle of the weather stripping. There. And then let's start working our way down the sides. So I need to grab a few more clips. Put the weather stripping roughly back where I think it goes, so I can clamp it and then work my way, come down the rest of the side here. So got this corner started. The corner on the rears, again, it's much easier, but it's the same idea, where you just kind of pinch it in, except on the rear, the pinch weld faces towards you. So it's much easier to work with, as opposed to facing down. And I'm just going to put the weather stripping back on because I did not mark it. I'm going to pull it up a little bit. I need to pull it up a little bit. Okay, so we're just happy with where it's sitting. I think it looks nice and straight. I'm just putting the weather stripping back up this side before I pull that side down, because I just don't want to pull, even if I'm not perfect with the weather stripping, I just don't want to have that much of the weather stripping taken off at any given time. Alright, so I can clamp it here now, and I can pull off this one, pull off this side. Weather stripping is just dirty, like it's weather stripping, so it gets really dusty, stops dust from getting in the van, but it does get all over your hands. So if you do have gloves, like latex gloves, it's not a bad idea to use it for this project. And then once we've done the corner, just work our way down the sides. And your goal here is just visually for it to look nice and straight. Okay, and as I get to the bottom, I have the right amount of material, which is perfect. Okay, so I've gone all the way around. It looks visually straight, but again, you kind of need to get the screen in there to see where adjustments need to be made. So I'm going to take the weather stripping all the way around, put it back on, and then we're going to zip in the screen and see where we're at. Alright, so the perimeter is all installed now. Same idea as the sides. You're just starting, instead of at the corner, you're starting at the middle top and working your way from one side to the other, and you just want to get it as straight as possible on the sides. So now we're going to zip in the perimeter, or the screen. That'll show us exactly what adjustments need to be made. Alright, so I got the screen here. On the rear, the magnet tube goes on the passenger side. That is the world's heaviest stepladder. It must be rated for like 1,000 pounds. Line it up and just work our way around. We line up nicely with the Hypalon patches here, but as you can see, we're a little bit tight because the screen, the magnets aren't grabbing it, so it's tight in the bottom. And all we got to do there is we're a little too tight in the bottom here to get it to go. Is it tight the whole way? Yeah, so we just got to relax some material kind of from here. Yeah, I think it's just this side. I can see the zipper line kind of goes like out a bit. So I got to just pull some material kind of from here down, pull it out of it. So I'm just going to clamp up here, pull off the weather stripping up to the clamp. And what we're going to do is now we're just going to let this come together. So now we can kind of see what kind of slack does it need in order to work properly. So now we're good there, but it kind of pulled a little bit here. So I just need to relax it a little bit more in here. I don't really want to touch this side because it looks pretty good. So I'm just going to pull out here. There's a fabric clip right there. Okay, so I've got that closing nicely now. So basically what I did there is once I had the perimeter in is I would just take off the fabric clips in the area where it wasn't closing, let the material close, and then repin it. And you can see now we've got a really nice closing action. And that's the rear one. So the last thing left to do is just to put the foam tube in the bottom and trim the outside, and the rear is all done. So that is a much quicker install on the rear. We also have the tabs here so you can screw into the plastic if you want. But yeah, overall, I'm really happy with that install. I'm going to close the doors just to make sure the weather stripping is seated and the door latches are letting it close. That is perfect. I'm happy with that. Really happy. Looks nice. Okay, we're going to put the foam tube in the bottom. Again, if you watch the side, what I like to do is put a piece of PEX in the middle of the foam tube to give it some rigidity. It also takes away all of the curl that it kind of gets from shipping. Just stop by Home Depot and pick up one of the pieces, but I don't have an extra one right now. You can see that one actually sits pretty good. That one is all installed and it's perfect. Just need to give it a quick trim and it's done. So all I got to do, get the knife, do the trim. All right, let's get this trimmed up. And that one is done. I'm going to get some closer up shots so you can kind of see where the transit one kind of begins, is it's right at the bottom of this plastic piece. That's kind of where I like to start it. And then the foam tube rests kind of right, kind of on line there. These tabs, if I was to screw them, I would fold them up and screw them on the inside like that. So I would screw them like so. But on this particular install, they don't really need it. If you were to move the whole screen up a little bit, you might use it, but overall, really happy with how the install looks. The thing ends up right at the bottom there. Hypalon patches, you can kind of see we're about an inch below the weather stripping. The alignment aid is in line with the camera. So you want the door hooks and the posts to be coming through the Hypalon patches.